Well, we've already had the story this week that Boris Johnson is going to wait on the results of the US election to see which way he should jump for a no for essentially should he go with Europe and essentially try and get that trade deal, or if what seems to be the case, as definitely pointed out here, because this is clearly who the Brexiteers want to win, if Donald Trump wins, then he will just go for a no deal, which will be disastrous for this country, and then try and get a trade deal with the US, which will not help this country at all, and open the NHS to more privatisation, and of course be able to deregulate the country on a massive scale, which will again prove to be disastrous for our economy, our manufacturing base, pretty much everything in the UK. It will just be disastrous. But we have here, surprise, surprise, which I pretty much told you anyway. One of the bright sides, bizarrely, got to find a silver lining in COVID-19 somewhere. One of the bright sides of this whole virus was at the start of the year, Nigel Farage was very much looking forward for this year to be his victory lap. He was going to take flight over to America, what was going to be in the early summer, which of course when COVID hit and when everyone was in lockdown, and of course people couldn't fly, this pretty much stopped his tour of the US, and this was going to be allow him to get onto the very, very lucrative public speaker circuit over there. And trust me, when you get onto that circuit, if you ever get onto that circuit, you can do literally one circuit and you can almost be pretty much set for life. However, this speaker circuit has a very, very short shelf life. It only tends to last a year. So the fact that Nigel Farage has lost out on a lot of money by not going on this speaking circuit, as I said, has been one of the silver linings of this whole nonsense, because quite frankly, he's an absolute tit, and he is probably ultimately the one guy most responsible for Brexit, and essentially what will be the ruination of Brexit, because even Nigel Farage has started to climb down his rhetoric on Brexit, because even he has started to see that Brexit ain't going to be what he and the Brexiteers promised they were going to be able to deliver on. Because as we've said before on this channel multiple times, it does not make a single bit of economic sense for the UK to be outside the single market. Doesn't make a single bit of sense at all. Trade gravity is a thing, it will always be a thing, and it applies. Doesn't matter that we've got this trade deal with Japan, it adds nothing to our GDP. Our top 10 countries we trade most with, if you take out China and the US, they are all in Europe. This will not change, and this will add huge implications down the road. Not only that, but Brexit will definitely have very definitely, I can very much assure you, unforeseen consequences on the UK and the UK economy. And trust me, that will be something that we will report on when it happens. But here we have Nigel Farage going to a Trump rally. Surprise, surprise. And he basically heaping praise on Donald Trump, which is not surprising, really. Brexit and Trump pretty much were birthed from the same populist baby. So, this is the article from The Guardian, and they're reporting on it. So, Nigel Farage has spoken at a Donald Trump rally to lend support to the Republicans' re-election campaign, showering the US president with praise, describing him as the most resilient and brave person he had ever met. What would be the true justice of this would be that Nigel Farage gets COVID from Trump. We can live slightly in hope of that happening, but it's unlikely to happen. But we can live in hope. So, taking to the stage in the front of a crowd of Arizona voters, the former Ukip leader said, "4 years ago, I was honoured to come to America to bring the Brexit message. The message that you can beat the establishment, and this is what Donald Trump did. He beat the pollsters. He beat the media. He built all the predictions, and here's the worst bit: they've never forgiven him for it. Straight away, Brexit. Brexit and the Brexiteers were the biggest group of British establishment people you could ever pick from. The number of people who supported, the businesses that supported Brexit, did it so that they could pull the EU, so they could pull Britain out of the EU, essentially to make a bit of extra money. That was it. Brexit doesn't affect anyone else except the elites of this country who will stand to make a bit of extra money. For the thing that he beat the pollsters, he didn't really beat the pollsters. The polling, for the most part, was spot on. It was the media pundits who basically were constantly saying that Trump didn't have a chance and basically dismissed him. Well, that the pollsters were right. It was the media that was wrong on that one. So in a sense, he did technically beat the media. He didn't really beat the predictions because, as I say, the pollsters were right. Hopefully, like I say, Trump is on course to get absolutely wiped out. If you look at all the polling, he is on course to get wiped out. We're looking at states like potentially if you look at the numbers, it's Texas, Florida, Arizona. These very traditional red states are looking like they might go blue. Now, of course, we'll have to see and wait what happens on election night, but we'll have to wait and see. So anyway, back to the article. So Farage praised Trump for withstanding a barrage of events over his 4-year term, including his impeachment and the revelations that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, saying that this is the single most resilient, brave person I've ever met in my life. He wrapped up his speech by telling the crowd that they were voting for the only current leader in the free world who has the guts to stand up for the nation state, to fight for patriotism, to fight against globalism. In a veiled dig at the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Farage added that they were also voting for decency and plain speaking. When he was called up on stage, Trump described Farage, famous for his long-time activism to get Britain out of the European Union, as one of the most powerful men in Europe. Well, that's certainly the best missed call I've ever heard from Trump there, and trust me, Trump's done a number of very good missed calls over the year, but certainly the most powerful man in Europe? Don't think so. Don't think so. Anyway, he continued to say, he's a very non-controversial person, right? Trump joked, very shy. Taking the microphone from the former member of the European Parliament, and responded to Trump that he was not compared to you. Farage previously spoke at a Trump rally during the 2016 presidential election, during which the pair drew comparisons between the surprise result of that year's Brexit referendum and Trump's election campaign, with Trump saying this about saying his presidency would bring about the American independence. Arizona has emerged as a key battleground state in the 3rd of November election, which has a record of 70 million votes already cast. So, yeah, definitely going to be very interesting for election night. But as you can see, clearly this is the guy that the Brexiteers want. And if they think that somehow America is going to save them, because, of course, this trade deal with the US is one that pretty much what Brexit was built on. This is what the Brexiteers are salivating for now, because this will allow them to do all sorts of secretly do all these unregulations. And yeah, it'll be an absolute disaster. Really, really will be. But this, and I've said before, Nigel Farage styles himself as a man of the people. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't get more further than a man of the people than Nigel Farage. He's like the furthest person you could possibly take him from. He's privately educated. He was a business investment banker in London for years, and he's been fully funded by millionaires and billionaires from this country who have taken an active interest in trying to pull Britain out of the European Union to essentially try and avoid the European tax laws that have instituted so that they can save an extra £1,000 in their pocket. That's really been it. And not only that, but you've only got to go back and look at past Ukip manifestos that have not only essentially been straight up copy and paste jobs of that year's Conservative manifesto, but in many cases going further more right wing on many of the stances of that particular Conservative manifesto. So, yeah, man of the people, he is not, and it's confusing when I see people praise Nigel Farage for being that, because he just isn't. You know, this is a guy who actively has said that the NHS should be privatised. Why would a man of the people like Nigel Farage be actively pushing for the privatisation of the NHS? I wonder why. But with that said, thanks for watching. Please do hit that like and share button. It does help out the channel massively. And of course, if you would like to support the channel in a different way, there is links to my Patreon and a one-off donation link down below, should you like to support that channel. And thank you very much to the people that do support my channel. Your support is very, very much appreciated. So with that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.